put to votes in about 2 hours from now. Let's walk you through them with Henry Newman from Open Europe. For the first time, Henry, there is going to be a vote on whether or not to have another referendum. Do you think it's got a chance at this point of succeeding?
Absolutely not. I think what's interesting is that the Labour Party are not even supporting this.
Yeah.
We heard from the Labour Party over the last few weeks that they had moved their position to totally and unequivocally back a second referendum. Yet just last night on the television, senior Labour frontbenchers were saying, no, we don't want a second referendum. And they're now saying they won't even vote for this amendment. Yeah. So I just think very little chance that would pass. Even if Jeremy Corbyn did whip his MPs for it, I still think it's not going to happen.
Right. One that might have a chance of passing, though, is a cross-party idea to take control away from Theresa May and to start setting the agenda next week. If that happens, do you think her vote, again the third time she brings it back, would that still go ahead, do you think, or not? Is it not clear?
Well, I think she's likely to try and bring her deal back to the Commons before that would happen. But I think this idea of putting Parliament in charge is really quite worrying. Right. What we've been seeing over the last days is a lot of parliamentary chaos and paroxysms of mess and whatever else. But that's with a government just about in charge of the process. Imagine what it would be like if parliamentarians were in charge themselves. MPs were all pursuing their different fantasy versions of Brexit without any clear whipping by anyone. What you might have is a majority coalescing around one idea, but that might have no relation to actually something that could be agreed with the European Union. So I don't think putting MPs in charge is a solution at all.
So if she gets her way and there is a third vote next week on her deal, despite the fact it's lost twice by record margins, do you think he's actually going to win this time? Because there's some suggestions that some of the hardliners are in a panic about not leaving the European Union at all. Is it just going to squeak over the line, do you think, or not?
Perhaps not next time. It might come back a fourth time or a fifth time. I'm afraid you're going to be here for quite a while.
How many times can they vote on this thing?
The fact is, there's only one deal that's been agreed with the European Union on our exit, and that's the Prime Minister's deal. And people are shifting. So you're right to say there was still a very big defeat just on Tuesday night. But she crucially persuaded her former Brexit secretary, David Davis. This is the man who resigned over the direction of her Brexit policy. He's now backing the deal. So, exactly. So I think once she gets people like that coming round, and if she can manage to persuade those 10 Northern Irish MPs, the DUP, to also back her deal, I think it might look like she's beginning to move into a situation where she could, with some Labour support, ultimately win it.
Just ever so briefly, if she loses, she's promised to go to the European Union and ask for a long delay. How long a delay do you think that would likely to be, given that it's all got to be agreed to Kamal's question by the entire 27 countries of the European Union?
Well, there's two possibilities. Either we get a short extension which allows us to complete the ratification, and that has to be done by the end of June. Yeah. So that's one option. The other option is something much, much longer, and the European Union could put all kinds of conditions on that as she's begging for that extension. So we could be looking at something like 21 months, European elections coming up. I think that's a very, very uncomfortable position for almost all.
And that would probably mean no Brexit at all in the fullness of time.
Possibly, but I think it would open up the path to all kinds of things and serious political division here in the UK.
Okay.